This is our COVID Roundup and CDC update for June 28th, 2024. Since last week, we are up about 14% in deaths due to COVID. This makes 2 weeks in a row of sharp COVID death increases. However, it should be noted that deaths are a very lagging indicator, where typically you start to see a signal about a month behind of the current COVID wave. Therefore, based off of current COVID wastewater data, I would expect this number to continue going up for the next couple of weeks. Moving on to our COVID genetic surveillance program, this is updated every 2 weeks, so there's no update for this week. However, I did note that in this neon yellow, they added the label of KP1.1, which as of last week is making up about 9% of variance in proportion. And then referencing our Czech Republic COVID surveillance map, KP1.1 is a D-flirt variant. Moving over to Raj's COVID surveillance tracker, Raj is noting a rise in KP3.1 and KP3.1.1. But let's simplify this and look over to PowerPoint where I broke this down. Between last week and this week, we are seeing an increase in KP2, KP3, and LB1, where the previously noted JN1.16 has dropped out, and KP1.1.1 has been added to the list. Switching back over to the CDC's travel monitoring program, where they take voluntary random samplings from airplanes and also look at the wastewater from airplanes on international flights. The thing that has been concerning me for a while now is this significant sustained reemergence of original Omicron, where original Omicron is B.1.1.529, which is this dark orange here at the bottom, which is way back here on our pango lineage tree. I don't like that it's still sticking around. It makes me worry that we might see a divergent lineage from that. However, while that's a fear of mine, there's nothing to support that evidence currently, other than its presence in the travel monitoring program. However, when I was looking back at original Omicron and the Pango lineages, I noticed XDV.1, which might be a future one to watch. That's just one to keep in the back of our minds for a little bit, because it only makes up about 1.4% of current variants in circulation. However, XDV.1 is a descendant of BA2, which is similar to what happened with Pyrola and then JN1. And when we see a new variant, it's always good to look it up, where I found this new resource, where it's showing that XDV.1 is showing up in North America, Canada, and other countries, making up about 18 countries and 15 US states, where the highest number of sequences have been detected in California. So again, nothing to be concerned about at this time, it's just something to be aware of. Moving on to our New York wastewater state map, there have been no updates since June 19th of last week, but as a reminder, in New York, everything was trending upwards. And finally, looking over to wastewater scan in California, everything is still trending up, where it's easier to see when we blow this up. And of note, right above my head, we're just starting to get liftoff. So like these little gaps right here where nothing is touching down, where you have high levels across the board, that's what I'm calling liftoff. That's usually a signal that we're about 3 to 6 weeks away from our peak. So we are still on track for this to be our absolute worst summer wave to date, based off of wastewater levels. And next, looking to all reporting wastewater facilities to wastewater scan in the United States, we are seeing a similar trend. And when we look out to everything in the US, we are at our worst summer wave so far. Because again, summer waves should only be compared to summer waves, winter waves should only be compared to winter waves. And we've had both every single year. Where again, if we look at the wastewater levels, everything is still heading upwards.